Okay, they're repeating the Miami Dolphins record predictions. So looking at the roster, the offense looks great. They have Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle. The run game, I think, is kind of underrated. Mostert had a pretty good season last year. Um, Jeff Wilson, I think he can be the bruiser. And their offensive line is their one weak spot. I'm not sure how Connor Williams is gonna do, but Eichenberg and Austin Jacksons are definitely the weak link. But their defense, they have another underrated defensive line duo with Sealer and Wilkins. Their linebacking core is definitely concerning, especially with David Long's injuries. But their cornerbacks and safety looks good. At least their starters do. Their depth not really that concerning, but still. So if your first game versus the Chargers, I'll be at that game. So, you know, the Chargers, also another team with a lot of talent. They have Herbert. Eckler is definitely going to be a problem. Um, you have to be disciplined to tackle him. But the offense have a great trio of wide receiver. Their defense still is good. They do have players like Mack, JC Jackson, but they're coming off an injury with the new OC, while the Dolphins have a bit more consistency. So I'm taking the Dolphins here. You have week two versus the Patriots. Their defense should still be good with Bill Belichick, but their defense definitely is aging a little bit. Their offense, Bill O'Brien's back, but their talent wise, their offense could be better. But it's Bill Belichick. Their defense should be good. And they do play in Gillette Stadium. The Dolphins historically do struggle at Gillette Stadium. I think Bill Belichick's one of those coaches that can't slow down Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle and cause problems for the Dolphins' offensive line. So I'm taking the Patriots here. And you have week three versus the Broncos. Broncos, they're a team that I should improve. Sean Payton. That Broncos defense was good last year. I think they should still be good this year, but I expect them to be a little decline a little bit. Dolphins offense, I think, will cause problems for that Broncos defense, but that Broncos offense, I think, with Sean Payton, will do better. And I think this one's going to be one of the more underrated tight games, but I'm still thinking Dolphins here because they have home field advantage pretty much. You have them versus the Bills. I think the gap between the Dolphins and the Bills definitely closed a little bit last year, a lot last year actually. But the Bills, they still have Stephon Diggs. Von Miller, I think, will be a huge problem. That whole Bills defensive line in front seven, which is really good, I think will cause problems. I think Bills have a really good defense that can slow down the Dolphins offense. That Dolphins defense, though, should be able to slow down Josh Allen. But so another tight game, but I'm giving it to the Bills now. Then you have them versus the Giants. Giants, I just don't see enough talent on. I said this on my Giants video. I just don't see enough talent. I think the Dolphins' defensive line is good enough to stop Saquon if he's even playing. So I'm gonna give it to the Dolphins here. And then you have Week 6 versus the Panthers. Panthers a young team. To me, I think the Panthers have a really good defense or a young good defense, which I think do have potential to cause problems. But I think Bryce Young's Bryce Young being like a rookie and going up against an experienced coordinator like Fangio, I'm gonna take the Dolphins here. Then you have them versus the Eagles. Um, Eagles pretty much the NFC Championship. I think Jalen Hurts and that offense is too explosive for even the Dolphins defense to contain. So I'm taking the Eagles here. Then you have them versus the Patriots. Patriots, like I said, they do have a tough defense usually at least. But I don't see the Patriots sweeping the Dolphins. I'm gonna take the Dolphins here. And if the Germany game against the Chiefs, Chiefs are the defending Super Bowl champions. I think they can figure out the Dolphins defense. Mahomes, Kelsey, Dolphins don't usually do well against the tight ends, but um, I think this is going to be a high scoring game. Chiefs have a good but not great defense. I think Dolphins' offense can get the job done, but I think the experience. I think the Chiefs win here. And then you have them versus the Raiders. Dolphins are coming off by. They have huge home field advantage. I think that is good enough to beat the Raiders, whose defense is not great. So I'm gonna take the Dolphins here. Then you have a short week, and then you play the Jets. Jets are much improved. I think they have a great defense. Just probably have a top 10, top 5 defense, which will slow down the Dolphins' offense enough. So while I think the Jets do, Aaron Rodgers not sure how he's gonna do, but Brees Hall, Garrett Wilson, I think can stress out the Dolphins' defense, and they do have home field advantage. So I'm taking the Jets here. Then you have them versus the Commanders aren't great. Their defensive line is good, which definitely I think can cause problems. Their secondary is all right, but not good enough to slow down Waddle or Hill. But the Commanders' offense is just so inexperienced. Terry is good, but that's pretty much it. Brian Robinson, I think, will get shut down. Dolphins have a great run defense. And Sam Howell's just not good enough, not experienced enough. So I'm taking the Dolphins here. Then you have Denver versus the Titans. Derrick Henry, as long as the Dolphins contain Derrick Henry, I don't think the Titans have any backup plan. The Titans defense lost a couple of pieces. They're still good, but not good enough. And pretty much Will Levis might be starting here. He's super duper raw. And Tannehill, not great. We all know that. Taking the Dolphins here. And you have them against the Jets. The Jets are not good enough to sweep the Dolphins, and Dolphins have home field advantage, so I'm taking the Dolphins here. You have them against the Cowboys, another very talented team. Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, Pollard can definitely cause problems for that Dolphins defense, even with the duo Ramsey and Howard. But I think Pollard is shifty enough to get to the second level and cause problems for the linebackers. While I think Micah Parsons and Lawrence pass rush for the Cowboys would be too much for the Dolphins offensive line, so I'm thinking the Cowboys here. Similarly, you have the Ravens. I don't think the Dolphins good enough. Linebackers are good enough to contain Lamar Jackson. And the Ravens defense is another very good defense, and they have home field advantage. So I'm taking the Ravens here. And then you have your final game versus the Bills. The gap has definitely closed. I don't see the Bills sweeping the Dolphins anymore, so I'm gonna take the Dolphins here. So in the end, I have the Dolphins going 10-7, 3-2 in the division, 8-1 at home, and 2-6 away.